Hello, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, good to see you. Thank you so much for being spontaneous and jumping on this with me. Um,
No, it's a pleasure.
just had the
I'm
idea of
glad.
thinking of, just hanging, just reaching out and seeing how some men are coping, especially family men. And so, I want to just dive right in and ask you, how are you in this current situation? And what is something that you want to share with somebody who's listening and might be in the same situation, or well, will be in the same situation but might be feeling the same way? Maybe you can just elaborate and share a little bit.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for thinking of us of us men. It's a tough time for everyone, but I think, a lot of times men go overlooked. It's always, of course, we focus on as a community or as a society, we usually focus on children first, and that's rightfully so. And then women, and then, men kind of come last. So thank you for keeping us, in your thoughts.
Yes, always.
It's yeah, it's not easy. I mean, we are usually taught to be the ones that should not give in to our emotions and just really have to show up as a protector, as a provider, as a person that's there to be able to play the role of the one that kind of doesn't get the opportunity to sit back and worry. If you can say that, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, right away, and it naturally happens. It's not that we're just expected to do that and we don't want to, but naturally, I feel like as men, as soon as this whole situation started, it's my first time in my life to be in a conflict zone, or be involved in something that has to do with conflict.
Mm.
I haven't spoken to you in a while, so you don't know, but basically, I was on a business trip in Lisbon, Portugal, and I just finished my work the night before everything kicked off. So I got up and I was on my way to the airport, and I,
Mm.
get these reports, and my wife starts messaging me and telling me this is going on. What do we do? And everybody started panicking. I got messages from all over the world.
Oh,
And me and my colleague, we were heading over to the airport to fly back to Dubai.
yeah.
And all of a sudden, my heart stopped. I just couldn't breathe. I felt like, oh my God, I knew this was, I mean, we all knew that,
Oh.
these things were kind of cooking, right? And
Mm.
they could have at some point or another erupted and something would have happened. But we didn't know when, we didn't know how, and how bad it would be. I guess the thought was that it would be gradual and we'd all have enough time to be able to take care of things
Okay.
and, be in the right place, protect our families. So all of a sudden, and first thought was, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And then right after that, it was, I need to be home with my family.
Mm.
If they're under attack or in a place where there are attacks happening. How can I be here and they're there and there's nothing I can do about it? So
Okay. Oh,
the feeling of helplessness
yeah.
kicked in hardcore.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
as we
wow.
went through the day, basically we found out that the flight was canceled. So you're sitting at the airport 3, 4 hours waiting, and then all of a sudden it's like,
Mm.
okay, go figure it out. We had to go check back into a hotel, communicating with the families, and every 15, 20 minutes, my wife's saying, oh my God, the kids are freaking out. There's loud sounds outside. Um, there's like, it's almost shaking, and
Mm.
we don't know what to do. What do we do? And I just like, there's nothing I could do. And
Yeah.
that really bothered me a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. I can imagine. I can imagine because
Yeah.
it's that helplessness mixed with the uncertainty, right?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
the feeling of not being able to do anything when you know that you're the one that needs to be the one doing something.
Mm.
And your family depends on you. It's your responsibility, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Mm.
I'm glad that you're having this conversation with me because it feels like a bit of an outlet. I've, just been kind of like tense about it. The,
Okay.
the story
I'm
about me
glad.
getting back was another entirely crazy story because I
Yeah.
couldn't get back in. A
Oh
lot of the
gosh.
flights were canceled.
Yeah.
So we luckily we have some support from our work, and they were able to reroute us via Zurich to Oman to Muscat.
Oh, okay.
So we got to Muscat, and
Okay.
then through a colleague of mine who usually is in Muscat, he knew a taxi driver that was going to meet us at the airport and
Wow.
drive us to Dubai.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, well,
Gosh.
he I was hoping he wouldn't bail on us. I know a lot of people are paying a lot of money to get back and in or out, and so
Mm.
we had to make an agreement and basically say, listen, just meet us there. Please don't bail.
Yeah.
We're trusting,
Yes.
we're counting on you.
Yeah.
And so he came and met us there, and we drove down, and through the drive, we're like hoping we're not going to witness anything crazy, and thank God we didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
just it was a smooth drive. The roads in this region are so amazing.
Mm.
They're so clean and between especially between Oman and the UAE. So we were able to drive in. He was able to
Oh,
drop us off. I think the scariest part of the entire journey was the fear of a flight getting canceled or the fear of something attacking the plane when it was in the
I can
conflict zone,
imagine. Yeah.
you know.
Mm.
So we did have it was a night flight, so we did have a point in time where there was a bit of turbulence and everybody jumped up, put their belts on and
Uh,
started praying,
yeah, I can imagine.
because
Oh, I can
we,
only imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we didn't know if it was like something, coming or it's just like
Normal
turbulence. And the
turbulent. Yeah.
captain was like, it was okay. It's just turbulence. Just take it easy. And so yeah, we just we got through it, and then until you get home, I hadn't slept for 2 days because
Mm.
even though I had a hotel room,
Yeah, but you don't.
I couldn't
Nah.
sleep.
I can.
Worried. I'm
Yeah.
thinking,
Yeah.
I have a 2-year old. I have two young other kids. I have my wife. Their families are back home in Canada, so like it's just like I'm the one missing element and I need to get back no matter
Yeah.
what. A
Yeah.
lot of people told me, they said, why are you going back into the conflict zone? Just stay and then eventually tell your family to come and join you. I'm like, no way. I'm going. I gotta go get them and bring them out. I'm not gonna have them, fly through this or deal with this without me there. No way.
I mean, there's so much I have to say to that, which, one of the things, I mean, obviously is that I think it's quite, like on the one hand, I guess it's heroic that you did go according to, the way that people suggested to you. On the other hand, is it what do you do? Right? Like you said, it's not, you wouldn't have it any other way. And I think a situation like
Yeah.
this, shows a lot. It shows a lot
Hmm.
of I don't want to say what people are really made of, but I'm just going to put it out there just because, we want to just kind of keep it short. And I want to get straight to the point is, um, because I see a lot. I see, people leaving. I see the ones, how they're behaving, how, if they're leaving, if, how they're behaving, if they're staying, all of those things and the role that the men are playing in whether it's family or not, or whether they have family or not. And it's very, very versatile, I have to say. And a lot
Yeah.
of people where you would have assumed that, of course, he's like, he's like the strong man and he's like, providing or whatever is doing actions where that might be kind of questionable to the usual image, shall I say, and vice versa. And I think there's a lot of versatile options and scenarios that how people are presenting themselves in a situation like this with pressure, with fear, with uncertainty. And so I already heard from the beginning and the way that I know you, you believe that you're the one that has to, like you said, the missing part in the whole conversation because you're the one that's supposed to be there and protect and provide the safety and the calmness and for everybody to be able to feel what they want to feel in this situation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, thank you for the recognition. I mean, I know a lot of
Mm,
men are the same. The person that was with me, my colleague, I've worked with him for over 15 years. Absolute
mm,
same sentiment. Let's get back. Nothing else matters. It's just we deal with whatever happens on the way,
mm-hmm.
and we take care of our family, our own, and then we figure it out, right? So
Yeah.
um, I agree with you, and I think it's the same when it comes to, women and the wives too. Like, people that are involved. It's easy for somebody to just get up and kind of think of themselves or take
Mm,
the easy route out, right? So I guess it's one thing to be silly in making decisions. For example, I know some people that aren't even like they're like, whatever, it's just going to be over. No, you have to think about what might happen, and you have to think about the safety of the long-term safety of your family. So if it does make sense eventually to plan something for your family, considering how things are going, then that's a different story altogether. But you should also not um, fear the unknown or the inevitable, and then just kind of ditch your entire family to go, to be more safe or secure somewhere else. It's just doesn't make sense. I think it's a balance. I think we have to find it, and I think we have to take our priorities more importantly, whether we're men or women or whoever we may be. As adults, I think what's very important, and I think what I've been struggling with as a man, as a dad, is how do I talk to my kids about this?
mm,
They had no idea things were going on, but they were told if you're just going to school from home, you can't do this, you can't go out and play for a little while. You got to be safe, and you have to sleep on the ground floor. In the first few days, as they were sitting on the ground floor, and they didn't get it. And then I said to my wife, I said, "Listen, I think the best thing to do is to actually explain what's going on to them."
okay.
With a little bit of like obviously care. You don't show them images. You don't jump into things where they're panicking because they see you panicking,
Mm,
but rather we're safe, we're okay, and it's true. We're in one of the safest places you can be. I mean,
absolutely.
I would not want to be in this position anywhere else in the world,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
Um, so I'm glad to be here while this is
Yes.
happening.
Yes.
And I am faithful of being taken care of as a resident, as an expat, and I know that is the case. So I told her, I said, listen, let's just talk to them in a way where we really do share our sentiment. We share our concern as well, but in a way where it's like, oh, don't worry, we're leave it to us. We're going to take care of everything. We're going to make the right decisions,
Mm,
but getting that message across to them is difficult. It is. I mean, how do you explain that this is happening because XYZ, right?
mm.
It's so hard.
Absolutely. And
So that's,
I think it's also it depends on and I think that's a very important point that probably a lot of people are asking themselves, which also reminded me that I needed to send somebody something that I saw somewhere how to explain to the kids. So if you would like, I can share it with you. I didn't write it. I haven't even looked
yeah.
at it. I just know it's how to speak with the kids because obviously I have an older one, and I think that's
Hmm.
also really important. Is depending on what age they're at and what stage they're at, to
Yeah,
explain in a certain way. And so the most
absolutely.
important one, though, is beyond the words and beyond explaining to them, is that my son even said to me, he said, as long as you are calm, I'm calm. So
Yeah,
if we are calm, they'll be calm no matter what is happening, no matter whether they understand what's happening or not. And I think that's the
yeah,
most important part. And that's also, the one that seems to be the trickiest because people, get very, very anxious and they get tense and everything. And no matter what we say from the mouth out, the children feel what we're actually feeling inside, right? That's always, I mean, not
absolutely.
only in this situation, that goes for always. Um, and so I always say they don't follow what you say, they follow what you do, and what you feel is what they feel. And so I think
Yeah,
that's the most important one to do is to do the best as adults to stay calm and rather talk to friends about it if there is some concern and make sure it's out of the earshot of the kids. And then also do exercises like the breathing that know, breathing exercises, all sorts of exercises, doing something together as a family, focusing on the nice and the positive things
yeah.
mostly rather than the fear and the panicking. And definitely don't watch any social media or any news because that's, I think it's creating more panic than the actual
Hmm.
actions. Because now you can tell. I'm
100%.
sure. I'm sure you can tell also. Now the sounds that we hear are normal. It's within a few
Yeah,
days. It's become like, oh yeah, it's just you know. But it's the media that's how do you say it? It's like encouraging that fear and everything. So that's something for the adults to best not do, I think. No matter how,
absolutely.
no matter how the whatever you've planned, like you said, the long-term safety and all of that, but like in the situation is to remain as calm as possible. And I find, if we talk about, and I think we talked about it in the episode, what is it to be a man or to be a woman? What's the role, so on and so forth. And one of them is to keep that calm.
Mm, absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. Social media plays, different roles. On the one hand, you have um, when you don't know what's going on, it's also ignorance, and that also creates fear and panic. When you know too much, or when it's spreading and it's just spreading like false information or information that's just not relevant to what is actually happening at the very moment, then it's fear mongering.
Yes.
So it's one of those things where you just need to know where you're getting your information from, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to be a reliable source. And you have to be able to manage it. Now, some people panic right away. So my advice to them would be, no matter how old you are or what gender you are,
Mm-hmm.
don't consume that, because you're just not probably not in a mental state to be able to consume that information and take it, because it could be something a lot more simpler than you're actually consuming it as. For
It's
those
it's
who
kind of like
are
a
a little
downward
more
spiral
resilient,
though, right? It's a
yeah,
downward
no,
spiral because
it
people who
does.
are generally anxious anyways,
Hmm.
so for them to not consume, it'll make them more anxious because now they don't know, because anxiety is based on future worries, right? So if they don't
Yeah,
know but was it you who gave me that, who we spoke about when we met, I think on the four options of like scenarios? Was it you? Because I shared it with somebody yesterday and I wanted to share it with you, but then I'm like, aren't you the one that actually gave, I don't know where I got that information from anymore. Like
it
three or
might have.
four worst case
I don't
scenarios.
recall.
Somebody put
No, I don't think so.
no, okay. So
It might have been someone else.
somebody
Yeah.
shared with me that they put like three or four worst case scenario in an Excel sheet. So like this
Hmm.
is the worst case. These are the steps. That's the outcome, and do like three or four versions of it, so that they can
Hmm.
relax, because now they know, okay, if this happens, that's what I'll do. If this happens, that's what I'll do, and it makes
That's a
them
good way
feel
to
much
do it,
better.
actually.
Yeah. So well,
Organizing your thoughts in your
yeah.
mind in a way where you can actually, take action that makes sense to you. It's
Mm.
true. If you can actually make sense of anything, then it becomes easy to deal with.
Because it is only the
The
uncertainty.
Yeah, that's what it is, right? Anxiety comes from uncertainty. Anxiety comes from not knowing what's going to happen in the future, like you said.
Yeah.
And again, only consume what you know you can handle, and leave the rest to who probably can and take care of things in and around you, no matter who you are. I know some men who are relying on their wives entirely
Yeah.
on managing the information that they consume or taking care of it, because for them it's like, no, I can't handle it, and that's fine. Like everyone's made differently.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it's not written anywhere where that it has to be, the man that doesn't panic and the woman that does. So
I
I
think that
think,
would be a
we're
whole
all,
different episode, or probably a few
but
of them. Mm.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it's something that we can kind of work out on our own and figure it out. And everybody plays a role in their family. But I'm just happy to be able to, again, be with my family, be
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
Hopefully things do
Yes.
de-escalate, but if they don't, we'll look into different plans. We'll
Mm.
see what we can do. If we need to go back home for a little while, that's what we'll do.
Mm.
I think if it was just me and my wife, I think we'd take different steps. We'd probably just stick it out no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But having three young children, especially a 2-year-old, I think it's important that we try to avoid having them, face trauma more than it is necessary.
Mm.
So if we can avoid it and we have the means, then we will definitely take some action. So we'll see how it goes.
I
I
think
do
everybody
have to
will.
drop
Yes.
off,
Yes. Yes.
Anna.
Yes. I was
Yeah, I'm
gonna
so
say. I think
sorry.
everybody will take their own decisions, and whatever
Yeah.
works for them. But yes, I know that you need to hop off again. Thank you for hopping on
Yeah.
and
Yeah, no, it's my
gifting
pleasure.
me your time. And hopefully somebody, will be taking something away from our conversations as always, which is why we do it.
Awesome. Adam,
All
it's a
right.
pleasure.
Yeah, always a
Okay.
pleasure. Bye for now.
We'll talk soon. Take
Yes.
care. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.